Are you outgrowing your current home, or possibly the neighborhood has changed? If that's the case, and it's perfectly normal for that to be the case, we're gonna help you with the move up strategy. Selling current home or renting current home and then buying your next home. It may sound complicated, but for us, it's what we do day in, day out. So we know the logistics of it. We're gonna be able to help you. This one, more than anything, is super important to get your pre-approval and have that pre-approval before you start the process. So in getting your pre-approval, the lender is going to help you go through the logistics of going from your current home to the new home. It may be renting your current home if you want to keep it and you have funds for the down payment on the next home. You may go over that option. You may also go over the option of selling your current home and using the proceeds towards the purchase of your next home. These are some of the logistics involved, but either way, you have to get that pre-approval up front. It may be contingent upon renting out your departing residence or selling your departing residence, but the pre-approval is going to help you with what you need to know to look at that option. What do I need to do to buy my next home? What's that going to look like? What's the payment going to look like? And that's one of my most favorite things to do, is to help someone plan their purchase of their next home. It's awesome. I love it. The logistics of this can be confusing, especially when you think about the timing of everything, right? You're going to buy the next home, and then how do you sell this home, and how do you time it so that you don't have this lapse of time in between where you're like, where do I stay and where do I move all my furniture and all that stuff, right? So it's actually not that complicated. We start with the pre-approval, and then we kind of reverse engineer everything, and then we go over the timing. When I help a buyer with the move up from their current home to their next home, there's no need for storage. There's no need for living somewhere else for a period of time. We work it out so that they go from this home straight to this home. It works out very smoothly. We do it over and over and over again, month after month after month. So it has to do with working with a local lender that's involved and knows how to do this, and we do it all the time. Affordability versus pre-approval amount. And this could very well throw you off if you just talk to the lender and say, hey, pre-approve me for this price range. I'm looking to buy this next home. The lender may fill in some blanks on how much of a down payment you use, and then what your payment range is going to be on the purchase of your next home. You've got to have a real detailed conversation up front with the lender to really set up that comfort range for your monthly payment on your next home. That way, during the pre-approval process, the lender knows how much of the net proceeds to apply towards the down payment of the purchase. Sometimes we structure it differently. If you have a couple of car payments and some credit card debt, we may take some of the net proceeds and pay off the cars or credit cards and ultimately decrease your total monthly budget payment, which may be way better for you than just applying that towards down payment. This is all a conversation that we have during the pre-approval, and it's the reason why you have to do the pre-approval first when you're getting ready to buy your next home. All right, so we're talking monthly payment and cash to close. And again, this is now for our move-up buyer. So for our move-up buyer, we're talking about what's that monthly payment going to be, and how much cash to close are they going to be dealing with in terms of down payment, closing costs, and prepaids. And so this is all part of the pre-approval process, where we look at, whether you're selling or keeping your current departing home, right? And then if you're going to be applying some funds towards down payment on the new home or not. Maybe you have already funds in savings or in retirement that you can use for the purchase of that. Ultimately, though, what we're looking at is the down payment structure on the purchase of the new home. It doesn't have to be 20%. It doesn't have to be 10%. It's all based on the specific pre-approval and where you want your affordability range with your payment on the purchase of your next home. And so that all ties together when you go through the pre-approval, and that's something that we can help you with. Closing costs, same with when you purchased your home, you will have closing costs. So you're going to be dealing with the third-party fees associated with getting your loan. Now you're also dealing with another set of costs, and it could be related to the real estate. One thing to know, and might help you out, is when you're buying your home, you're not paying the real estate agent for the purchase of the home. Where you pay a real estate agent is on the sale of your home. You'll pay out of the net proceeds on the sale of your home for the real estate agent that's working for you, and then also the agent that's working for the buyer that ultimately buys your home, okay? So you really don't have to think about any of that out of pocket. The only out-of-pocket amount that you need to kind of know about and be prepared for is the down payment on the purchase of the new home. First step is always to get pre-approved when you're getting ready to buy that next home. With regards to escrow account, yes, when you're buying your next home, you're going to prepay the escrow account. You're going to set up a new escrow account for your new home. And so what about the current escrow account on your current home? So what happens with that, right? So this is what happens. When you sell your current home, which is part of that move up process, the loan will ultimately be paid off, and any funds that you had in the escrow account will be refunded back to you. And so you'll get those funds back. You have to prepay them on the new home, but you'll get a refund of the escrow account that you had on your previous home. Just like we had talked about earlier, the escrow funds are your funds. They're for your taxes and your insurance. So you do get those refunded when the loan is paid off or your home is sold. Appraised value versus sales price. Is this something that you need to be concerned about? Well, a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's something that you may need to prepare for. You know, if you're buying a home in a certain price range and there are not other sales in the area recently to use as comparables, it is possible that the appraised value may be lower than the purchase price. And sometimes you have to make up that gap, or depending on the market, you might be able to negotiate with the seller. In the current market we're in, that's not really an option. You typically bring in the difference. When we set up your pre-approval, that's one of the things that we will go over to make sure you have enough funds for your down payment to keep everything comfortable with your monthly payment. And then also make sure that should there be an appraisal shortage and you wanted to still purchase, that you'd be able to make up the difference. The last thing you'd want to do is sell your home and then have an issue buying your next home. So it's very important that we do that thorough pre-approval first. Hopefully after we've kind of gone through everything, you feel comfortable with the idea of moving to that next home. And that really the main goal was to give you just a little bit of information, enough to help you make kind of a decision, spark that decision on what you might do if it's moving, starting to make that move to, you know, buying that new home.